We're doing a video discussion on Tuesdays with Morrie, and I'm Nicole Sweeney.
I'm Morrie Dewitt.
I'm Luisa Klemm.
I'm Christina Diltz.
Fuck you!
Okay.
So.
Alright, so the first question. Who do you think got more out of their Tuesdays meeting, Mitch or Morrie? In what ways? How do you think each would answer this question? I think it was equally divided between the two. I think Morrie had, processed the thought of death, better than he would have without Mitch. I think he got to talk it through with him, and it made him feel better, but I also think Mitch learned a lot. But I think if they were to answer this question, I think they would answer, that the other one got more out of the discussion.
I think Mitch kind of got more out of the discussion because he was able to live his life after it, and he lived his life differently after his Tuesdays with Morrie. And I think it also helped Morrie because he was able to face death not alone. And I think they, like Laura said, I think they both say that each other got more out of it. They're those kind of people.
I think Mitch got more out of it in the sense that he changed his life afterwards. Morrie was always that type of person, kind of say what's on his mind, that type of thing. But Mitch's life changed. He used to be that, go to work, do this, do that, routine kind of person. Before he saw that, was it Dateline?
Yeah.
Dateline thing? Nightline. Thing on TV. And then, I don't know. I don't know how they would answer that. Oh, there it goes.
Shake the computer, shake the mouse pad. But he wasn't as power hungry afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was equal. I agree with Laura, but also I think that Mitch learned a lot more from Morrie than what Morrie, because they both got something out of each other's being there for each other. But I think Mitch learned a lot more because he was there for him through a lot, and yeah.
Morrie already got to live, so he really couldn't change his life. He was too close to death, but Mitch changed his whole entire life. He wasn't, you could tell he's not going to value work or money as much, and I think he's going to change how he treats his wife a little more, and maybe he'll start a family.
And not take things for granted, so I think that's one thing for him.
And when they were talking about, I think it was forgiveness or reflecting upon your life, and Morrie said that usually people don't. Was it forgiveness where they were talking, or
there was regrets?
Regret, yeah, reflecting on your regrets. And Morrie said that people usually don't do it until they're nearing death. Mm-hmm. And I think Mitch might, take that advice and maybe reflect on, what he's done wrong in life before, it's too late.
Mm-hmm. And even with his brother, the whole forgiveness, forgive yourself and forgive others. He changed his whole relationship with his brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That could change a lot in your life.
Right.
Next question.
Alright. Discuss Morrie's criticisms of Mitch throughout the book. Do you think Morrie should have been tougher on him or easier?
Definitely tougher. Mitch completely forgot about him and took everything by the horns and went to work and was greedy and had a falling out with his brother and didn't really care. He said that he didn't care, but I think he did. But he wasn't nice to people, and I think he should have been tougher on him. But I think at the end it ended up, lesson was learned, so
yeah.
He didn't have to be tougher maybe.
He also said that he promised Morrie that he would visit him after college, but he never did until he found out Morrie was dying. So I think after this he'll appreciate people more.
Well, a lot of people say that, they'll keep in touch and stuff like that, and they never do. It's just one of those things, you say, oh, can we hang out sometime? You say, oh, yeah, but you never do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Morrie was, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he should have been tougher. I don't think he should have been, anything different than what he was, because Mitch learned the lessons. And, when he was, reflecting, on the things he could have done, the things he should have done,
And, he knew that he learned from him, too. because like he enjoyed going there and he enjoyed like seeing him. And I remember when he said that whenever he saw Morrie, he always had like a twinkle in his eye or something. Or so
He brought those
Bags of food,
Yeah.
Because at first he like kind of didn't like. It's not that he didn't want to go, but he like felt almost like awkward or like uncomfortable. And at the end, he wanted to go all the time, like even if it wasn't Tuesday. So I think that means a lot if he had that profound of an effect on him to make him want to go, even when he's like that sick and sad looking. So you don't really want to be around someone who's like sad.
yeah.
It's depressing.
Okay.
Next question. Do you think Mitch would have listened if Morrie hadn't been dying? Does impending death automatically make one's voice able to penetrate where it couldn't be before? I think so.
Yeah, I think people like don't realize the importance of things until they realize it's not going to be there in a little while. I think that's when people really like, reach that state of reality and they feel as though they need to make the most of it of what they have left. Yeah.
even like going to college, you
Yeah.
kind of value things differently if you're going away. You realize, hey, that's not going to be here next year. So it's the same kind of deal. Like when you realize you don't have it anymore, or you aren't going to have it, you just like live it to the fullest. Like his dream day was like just average.
But I think that's just human nature to do that. I think, like, obviously it's a human flaw, but I don't ever see, only a very,
connected.
yeah,
Someone that's connected with themselves.
yeah, can really, like, step out of that kind of flaw.
I don't think you could ever like truly, I don't know, value things until it's like going to be taken away though.
Yeah.
Like nothing really sets in until like it's gone. You don't have it. You can't like when someone dies and you're like really close to them, they're not there, and like you want to talk to them, but they're not there, and it kind of it definitely has an effect on you, and like sometimes it makes you want to like change the way you live. Like when people die, you want to be like, I have to live my life to the fullest. I have to do this. I need to be nicer to people. It shouldn't really take death for people to realize it, but that's what something that definitely makes them realize it.
And I think Mitch would have listened to Morrie in like the beginning, but like you said, like it would have been awkward. But I don't like if he wasn't dying, I don't think he would have saw him as much.
Definitely. And like the thing is though, even though he got all this out of him and he like he was gonna change himself because of like talking more, I don't know if that's necessarily gonna last. Because I feel like it's kind of like the New Year's resolution. Like I'm gonna do it this year.
I was thinking about that.
And then it's just like you just go back to your old ways.
It's
happens.
always short-lived. People get all like,
he might remember it.
inspired by what people say in events, but
Like, even after this book, I'm gonna be like, for the next week I'll be, don't die, okay? Be nice, and then it's gonna be like, I don't like you anymore.
But like, during college they were definitely really close. I don't know if like maybe some random day Mitch would have been like, maybe I want to see him or something like that. They still had that relationship, that kind of like father-son relationship.
Definitely.
So
that's what it was.
there would have been like there would have been some kind of like impact, but maybe not as like major as like when he was dying and stuff like that.
Yeah, because like he did have an impact on him, but like kind of when in college he kind of went away from the lessons that Morrie taught him, because even in college he wasn't like obsessed with grades or like money, and then he ended up being that person.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I feel like but Morrie did choose like beforehand and after. So that time in between though could have been a lot better if he like stayed in contact. I think would have made better decisions.
Yep. Does this book make Morrie's death a public event? If so, how is it similar to other public deaths we've experienced as a society? How is it different?
Well, I feel like we kind of have like soldiers' deaths are kind of public.
Not at like.
They're not like on
They're not as prevalent as say like some huge celebrity dies.
That's
like,
true. That's true.
Everybody mourns them, but like not many people. I don't know. I feel like people don't care about someone as much until like they die, and then some people become more famous in
once they die.
death
Yeah.
than they are in
Right.
life. Like the Black Dahlia, she wanted fame, she wanted fortune, and that, and then like her murder made her like
Who?
the Black Dahlia. She was cut in half
Okay,
and lay out
I'm
in the
good.
field, and like her death is kind of like immortalized. It's like one of the like top unsolved crimes. Like people are gonna be talking about it. People are gonna
When
like be
did
trying to
this
figure it out.
Oh, like
A while
years ago.
ago.
Like
Like
a few decades ago.
They just cut her up.
Yeah.
Some girl.
But
Who
like
was she?
I think she was like a striving actress or something,
I
right?
think it was like Betty or
Yeah.
I'm Googling this.
But it's kind of
But
like,
like Heath Ledger.
yeah.
I mean, I didn't know who he was, and I was
I
like,
know.
oh,
And
hey,
artists, because artists' paintings, like,
become more valuable.
like millions and
Because
millions
they
of
only
dollars.
talk to
Hoffman,
like
right there.
There you go.
Hands off me. I don't know.
There.
makes a few.
But yeah.
Especially like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Like when you think about it, people were criticizing him while he was alive, and like everybody
Yeah.
was his like yes man, and like maybe he needed to know who those people were that cared about him, but he wouldn't like figure it out.
And they didn't really, I mean, like, once they found out that Morrie was nearing death, I mean, that's when the news agencies came to see him and stuff, but otherwise, I don't think they would have cared, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
I think it was good that he made it a public event, though, to a certain extent. Like, he inspired other people. I mean, I wouldn't want to do that, so I think it takes a lot of guts to
Yeah.
be willing to share all that with other people.
Well, yeah, he got pretty intimate, you know? Like,
Okay,
he let
Laura.
a lot of people into, like, his private life, I think. I think death is a very intimate thing, you know? It's very personal. Intimate is in, like, personal.
I know. Sorry, can I do that with you guys?
Yes, you can share that intimate moment with me.
No, but I agree.
Yeah.
He, like, even his nurses, he had to be accepting of that. But, like, his funeral wasn't public, which is good.
Mhm.
And how was it different than public things? It wasn't probably talked about forever. I mean,
I never like. Is this a true story?
I think so, yeah.
Because-
Yeah.
Yeah, because he talks about it in the back. The author is actually Mitch.
Because like, I'll be honest with you, I have never heard of this story in my life until we actually
Yeah.
had to read the book. So
He used the money for medical
unless you
bills.
really like care about a subject like this, then it really, I don't know.
Then many people won't really like
Right.
read the book
It's not
or
as
hear about it.
publicized.
Yeah, like, cause like I said, with celebrities, they're immortalized. Like they die of a drug overdose. They're like.
All over the news everywhere.
I think his death was a public event for this book.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, Nightline brought it to the attention of people, but he wasn't like, oh, every day I have to deal with this. He asked him, like, the reporter kind of asked him he didn't really ask him, personal questions. Like, I think this book was, like, his final thesis, and, like, it was, like, he, like, let everything out. Discussed everything.
But yeah, I definitely think that, it wasn't through, the news agency. I think it was through Mitch that he became, public. His death became public.
I think this book, like, what's that word? I can't think of that word.
Encompasses?
But, like, it shows Morrie, like, in this, like, light, how he would have wanted to be remembered. I think he wants people to. There was this one what was it? There was this one thing where, in the book where he talked about wanting people to learn from, him before he died, and as he was dying, like he wanted people to learn, what it was like. Not necessarily like the pain aspect or the Lou Gehrig's disease, but like his like life lessons.
So that they can live, kind of.
That they could like maybe appreciate life a little bit more, maybe appreciate the little things, and detach yourself from like these emotions. He used that a lot. Like you're angry, know that feeling, know what it feels like, and then detach yourself from it.
Yeah. So it doesn't like ruin everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next question.
Okay. We're at number 5?
Yep.
Okay. Morrie referred to himself as a bridge, a person who is in between life and death, which makes him useful to others as a tool to understand both. Talk about other literary, historical, political, or religious figures who have also served his purpose.
Ooh. Yeah. In between life and death.
Well, Jesus. I guess for a historical figure, Jesus was supposedly came, he was the Son of God, and he came to kind of, let people know that there is a God. I mean,
And to live their lives a certain way.
right, and to honor God, and he kind of set up all the,
Everything.
the prerequisites for, a life of salvation, the afterlife and what you need to do. So, I mean, pretty much he was just a bridge. I mean, like, he only came here to spread this kind of, intelligence to the others. So, definitely Jesus was one of them. I mean, what about
Gandhi?
Gandhi?
There was this quote where he's like, I go to sleep and I die
Oh,
every
yeah,
night,
Yeah.
and I wake up and I'm reborn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely.
I think like any religious figure, probably.
Any. Because they come here with a sense of like,
Purpose.
a purpose, a determination, and they feel like, what about, what do you call them? Prophets and saints. Saints feel like they're here for some kind of particular purpose. How about literary? Political figures. I mean,
I don't think there's really
I don't know, maybe not in our country.
I don't like politics because I don't think many politicians can relate to the common man. Politicians are supposed to be I guess I don't think so, but maybe a better version, or they want to represent us, but I don't think they
Sometimes they think that.
well, you can consider Gandhi to be a political figure.
Yeah, well,
yeah, but he had that
he
sense
was
of
more
self.
religious. He was religious.
Right, but he did control some of their
that is true.
he did
Yeah.
influence some of their politics.
I don't think many people are connected with themselves maybe Morrie was, or Gandhi was.
Mm-hmm.
That they like the materialistic aspects.
Yeah.
They want power, they want money, they want
Right.
fame.
Right. So, I mean, how often do you see a political figure who is all good and all
Yeah.
no.
Maybe political figures in other countries.
Well,
I don't know. I don't think that that's really a.
I mean, you see.
What about literary?
Well, I don't think any person is really I don't know. I feel you have to be some superhuman being to be connected with yourself, in the sense that some people are because I don't think there are many people that are as connected and as
right.
there's not a lot of people
I got it.
Yeah.
John Locke in Lost.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, John Locke.
There you go.
There you go. Done.
But
Done.
then again, there's people who think they are this profound person
And they
who's
aren't.
like Hitler, who thought he was doing the Germany such a great deed by killing off all the Jews, because he thought that the Jews were ruining the economy, and so he killed them all, thinking that he was this great.
I think you
person.
can kind of relate it to cult leaders too.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about brainwashing as kind of culture.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's easy to make someone think that you're a prophet or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
People believe it because I feel people want to believe in that. That
Supernatural.
I feel they want something to believe in.
Supreme being.
Definitely. I don't know about
Literary
could
figures.
be John Locke.
Like,
It's a book.
No, it's on Lost. It's still.
Yeah, but literary.
I know.
I read this book. It was fiction, but it's called Jeremy Fink and the Meaning of Life.
Mhm.
And his father died before his son's. I think it was his 13th birthday, and he left him this box, and he had to go search for these keys and kind of search for the meaning of life, and those adventures and your experiences make up your life. And I don't really know. Sometimes people know, they just know when their time is up.
Mhm.
And the father just doing that, setting it up for it to be delivered on his 13th birthday, and setting that whole thing up, kind of knowing he's not going to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, anyone who kind of gives advice, not for themselves, for their own, selfish reasons, but wants to share with other people to make their lives better, I think could be kind of compared to this.
Right. I think we could all be considered a bridge because we're all here for a reason. Supposedly. We all gifts.
We all have a reason.
We all have a reason.
We're all
You're
here
supposed
to annoy everybody.
Keep the combo going.
I'm not kidding.
Thanks. So I think everybody can do something for someone. I think everybody's is that sometimes?
Yeah.
So.
I really hurt my feelings. We just interrupt us with Dr. Phil. How are your feelings? What do you feel? Why don't we get done before this?
Okay.
Alright, so. Alright. Are we done with number 5?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Here, I'll read a question.
Yeah.
Morrie told Mitch about the tension of opposites. Talk about this as a metaphor for the book and for society. Tension of opposites.
I don't
I don't remember that.
Let's look. I know I definitely read it. I remember that opposites part, but I can't remember where.
Would the
Okay,
tension of opposites be the need for love and the need for money and power kind of?
I don't know. Google it.
Yeah. Google tension of opposites.
Alright, we'll go back to that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mitch made a list of topics about which he wanted Morrie's insight and clarity. In what ways would your list be the same or different? I think his list was very cliche.
But I think his list was of things that he was unsure about himself.
Mm-hmm.
Family and that kind of thing. I feel he wasn't really sure on those.
It was only
topics.
for his own self, not for others necessarily.
I know, but
Yeah.
don't you think the things he wanted to talk about were cliche? Don't you think everybody is
In a
curious
way.
about marriage?
Yeah.
See,
About having kids?
Oh yeah.
He talked about having kids and stuff.
And if you do it again and stuff with his sons, and it's just kind of I don't know. I feel like that was kind of a waste of a question. You could ask tons of other people. For that.
Yeah, I think anybody can answer that question. I mean, I think it's a very cliche, thing to ask. All of the questions, everybody's unsure about those things.
And marriage too. I mean, not everyone's thinking marriages work out. That's just how
But
it is.
I feel Mitch looked up to Morrie in a way that his answers would kind of maybe solve his problems. He looked at it in that kind of stuff. Because I feel he was I really feel Mitch thought Morrie was kind of a supernatural type being. He was better than everyone else.
He did I feel if he asked someone else these questions and he answered them, it probably wouldn't mean that
it
much.
wouldn't be as valid to him.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. He seemed kind of stubborn.
Who?
Mitch.
Mitch?
Very stubborn. I don't know.
In what way?
He I mean, I feel like he'd only take Morrie's advice.
He's very picky.
Yeah, maybe, picky.
He's kind of irritating.
Like, he only wanted, like, his advice. He, like, and even, like, some of the things he, like, wouldn't cry, even though that, like, he knew that's all really Morrie wanted was, like, some self-satisfaction. It's, like, almost like he didn't want to give that to him.
Right.
But, like,
And that kind of bothered me. He was very selfish.
If he would have given,
Bothered me.
but if he would have like cried at just any random time,
That's true.
I really think Morrie could tell that it was, you know, like fake, and I think Morrie wanted it to be genuine.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
Did he cry at his funeral?
Yeah, but
Or-
He cried.
could have cried
like,
at other
the
things.
last time we met with him.
Okay. That's like that. Because
Not
he
with
knew.
him.
He kind of knew.
But did he?
I mean, he could have died at any
Can't
moment.
find
That's
that
the
list.
thing that bothered me.
Right.
He waited to, like, give him his goodbyes, and it's like, he could have died last night.
Right.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Morrie knew when he was gonna die.
Yeah.
He knew it. It's like prevalent. He knew when he was gonna die, and
Fancy.
And he knew where he wanted to die and, like, who to be with and stuff like that.
Oh, speaking of which, I remembered. What do you guys think about Morrie's like little funeral he had for himself? His living funeral. That kind of irritated me, to be honest.
It was kind of like self-gratification.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not okay with just, I don't know, people visit him all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
I get his point, but I mean that's a little selfish.
honestly, I disagree. For myself, I wouldn't want like a living funeral.
Yeah.
I don't like the whole thought of death, but for him, it was like the right thing, cause like people really wait till like it's too late, or you know,
That's true.
to tell someone how they really feel. And like Morrie has had such an impact on so many people's lives that, you know, don't you ever think like if like you were to, what would these people say about you? Are they like genuine? Like I mean, like someone could just like if you have this and you arrange it, people could just like say kind of like what you want to hear, you know.
And not actually mean
But
it.
don't you think at like his living funeral you could say the same, because what are they gonna say? Oh, you're an asshole or something.
I hate you. You gave me the worst advice. I mean, I had 3 failed marriages because of you. I'd say it, but I mean,
horrible.
I'm just kidding.
Anyway,
No, but like all these people
No.
visited no matter what.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They obviously like had to mean something. Like he
That's
had to mean something to
For them
like,
to even
Oh,
come.
that's true. That is true.
like if
Like, see who came if you invited them. See who showed
I
up.
think that's kind of
And then
morbid,
beat
though.
the crap out of them if they didn't.
Don't you think it's kind of morbid that he had people over and have a living funeral?
Well, I feel like you're jinxing yourself.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna die.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think it was very morbid.
Yeah.
I think he had good intentions, but that would just make me upset.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of different for him because he knew he was gonna die.
like
Yeah,
Lou
he knew he was
Gehrig's
really
Like, I mean,
It's
He's
not like, hey girls, next weekend my house, living funeral.
I mean, if you had like a heart attack, you can't do that. So like, I feel like that's kind of different because I feel like if you had the heart attack, suddenly you want a living funeral before that because people aren't gonna visit you in that time
Right.
before you have your heart attack.
Yeah.
So maybe you should have one like every 10 years.
Every weekend.
Yeah.
Bring chips.
Like I think you shouldn't have like a living funeral unless it's like terminal.
That's
you know
true,
what I mean?
yeah.
Because like a lot of, like I said, like a lot of people don't get to say what they want to say, and a lot of people hold on to this like a lot of people hold on to like regret
Mhm.
and stuff like that, because they think maybe
Someone smells
it,
like grapes. Yeah, it's you.
Really? I was just
Sorry.
racing. I just. Okay.
maybe, you know, if they said what they wanted to say, maybe they could have saved them. But
Yeah.
knowing they said all they could and they did all they could, they don't have to live with that regret.
Yeah.
I don't want one.
No, I wouldn't want one either.
I don't know, but I think for him it was the right thing.
Yeah, because he was also a teacher, so I feel like
Teachers have certain teachers just have that impact on you.
But you'll never forget them. And
Yeah, Mr. West definitely had that impact on me. He was that teacher I could go to for anything and everything. I love that man to death. That's the only science class I did good in. like, you want a teacher that genuinely cares about the students, and you can tell when they care about someone.
And they like get to know you.
And like, Mr. West kind of made me want to be a teacher.
That's
But,
cool.
you know.
Gotcha. My 7th grade history teacher and soccer coach.
Bill Clinton.
What a man. Shut up. No. It's true. What about you, Nicole? What teacher had an impact on you?
I don't even know.
Yes.
What did I say in? Oh, does that apply to you too?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay. Anyways, go on.
I don't even know actually.
Not Mr.
'cause, like,
Rushmore?
No.
Come on.
I know him personally though.
What?
I know him personally.
Okay, we have to do that. That's a little questionable. Because he was your neighbor.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That's a different story.
Okay. Oh no, I think it would have to be Mrs. Hadwell. Do you know? Oh, never mind. She was my 6th grade teacher for reading and English, and she was just like that person who, if I had a question, she would help me no matter what, or like even if it wasn't school related, like she was always there for me, and she would always like ask me after class, like, "Oh, are you okay?" Like she can tell when I'm having like a bad day or something.
Not all teachers are like that, which is kind of like why I think like the education system is not as good as it should be. You should have those teachers that you can trust, that you like know, like you need good teachers, and there aren't a lot of good teachers out there that genuinely care about their students, and you can tell when they don't care.
Yeah.
But, and then, you know, some people, like, I think some teachers kind of hold back too. You know what I mean? Because then you see, like, when there's a tragedy, like the Newtown tragedy, like how all the teachers risk their lives for their children, or their students. So, I mean, like, I think
Maybe they are those kind of teachers, but I feel like that kind of puts them at risk to a
right.
certain extent. Like, think about it. If, like, even, like, a female teacher, like, being really nice to, like, a male student, we, like, see that as a threat.
Right.
And, like, the same with, like, male
That's
teachers. So
weird.
it's kind of like, that's why they can't be, I feel like maybe that's why. In younger grades, it's easier to be, like, that teacher.
Yeah,
because
because it's not
you're,
like
you're,
suspicious
you're
or weird.
yeah.
Right.
In high school, you kind of have to treat everyone the same when we really should be treating people differently.
Right.
Some people have different strengths, and that's just how it should be.
I feel like how our society is like you know, like those teachers that have relations with
Their students.
their students, it
ruins it, kind of.
yeah, like if like a decent looking teacher is like
Wait, what kind of relations? I'm just...
Like sexual
Oh, okay.
relations. I didn't feel like saying.
Oh, okay.
Not
like-
for you.
When they like are closer to a student than other students, you automatically in today's society have that suspicion
Oh, yeah.
that they're having like sexual relations.
I don't think that should be the case, though.
That's the issue, though. That's
think
why
that should be-
teachers can't be like that. Like, even with Mitch and Morrie, like, he was a guy and he was a guy. Like,
But
that wasn't,
still.
like, threatening.
Yeah, that was.
And they were close apart, but think about it. If Morrie was, like, 5 years older than him, you know, my dog. My dog wants to come in. Okay. But if they were, like, 5 years apart, then... Come on in, Pippa.
Oh.
She could add to the discussion. But, like, if they were 5 years apart or, like, closer, there'd be, like, suspicion. She's
Right.
very bad, so she should...
Even with two guys.
Pippa behave.
Hey, Peppa.
So my dog.
I don't know, and like the same thing, like they can't be those kind of teachers with like
No.
how our education.
And how society judges you.
Yeah. So it's society's fault that we don't let teachers, you know.
Like I don't think like teachers should be like not necessarily like invested personally in your life, like where they know every aspect of your life, or where they like come to like sporting events and stuff like that to support like you. But you should have that like kind of like mentor relationship
Sorry, she would just keep calling at the door though until she knew who was in here.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, mama.
Like you need that mentor relationship.
So I understand what you mean. Like, I mean, it's sad that, like, teachers and students can't hold bonds with each other because they're going to be judged in a negative way.
That's why, like, Morrie's and Mitch's relationship was different, especially
Right.
because it was, like, college.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, like, if it wasn't college, they wouldn't be able to have, like, their, like, lunch dates.
Right. I
So
mean,
you
like,
can't have a lunch date with your teacher.
if it was in high school, you know, even
I'm
though
sorry,
it's,
that'd be
people would
creepy.
be-
I wouldn't want to be friends with my teacher.
right. It's different when you get older. you
Yeah,
know?
because he had enough. He was at a certain age where he was able to give advice and
Yeah.
he was like seen in a different manner than just like a teacher.
And
Because like when your teachers are like 10 years older than you, does it really mean that much?
yeah. But like, you know, I think Mitch was able to mature as well. So, you know, it totally changes the situation.
And also I think about like, well, look at like when the teachers say about the whole Facebook thing, like you're not allowed to add them or they're not allowed to accept you until
Isn't
after
that
high
like
school.
school policy?
Yeah,
Is
but
it?
it's like that though because
Like I mean, unless they're like,
Because
I
Because
don't
like all
know.
teachers are like that. They're like, can't be friends on Facebook.
I have my middle school teachers on Facebook. But I
Really?
didn't go to Dallas. Yeah. They also like I don't know. The one was my soccer coach.
Oh.
So I don't know.
But
But I could see that could be like really creepy.
yeah, because it's just like for them they're out of high school and they're graduating and everything.
I
So it's
don't
not-
think it would have been as creepy like in like past years. Not like
Yeah, well this was like the 70s, right?
1979. He
So
graduated, and then in the 90s, but they were adults like at that point. Like,
yeah.
I don't think it would have been seen as weird back then
right.
as compared to now.
yeah,
People
I really-
I feel like people look for the worst
Like,
Yeah, you
well,
definitely
in everything.
Everything.
They want that. I feel like people need gossip
it's
Yeah,
kind of like
to
a,
function.
Very pessimistic.
it's kind of a defense mechanism though to a certain extent. Like if you see the worst, then you know it can't be that bad.
Mhm.
When you find the real outcome.
So you gotta expect the worst, hope for the best.
Making connections.
Yeah. So, next question.
That would suck. Okay. Do we do the tension of opposites? Okay.
No, we didn't. We skipped it.
We'll go to the next one.
Okay. Morrie said, if you found meaning in your life and you don't want to go back, you want to go forward. Is this true in your experience? I feel like you always kind of want to go back.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of in our nature to like look at the past, compare ourselves to the past, and
Yeah.
dwell on the past. But like in order to like move on and like enjoy, you have to accept that this has happened
Right.
and
It's past
Just
and you
move
can't
on.
change it.
like you can't change anything that has happened in the past, no matter how bad you want to change it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the thing is though, like sometimes the past can help you.
Yeah. No.
Like that's the only, and like the thing is, how are we supposed to know if we found meaning in our lives? We're 17 years old.
Right.
Or, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. If this is, I don't know. I think everyone wants to go back at one point though.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
I think depending on how you were raised is like how the outlook on your life changes. Because like if you're not, if you're raised in like if you're raised in like if you're like abused by your parents and stuff like that, you think well, if you're told that you're never going to become anything unless you're a really strong person, most likely it's not going to happen. Like if you're strong enough to just be like, I want to be better than this, I want to do this, I want to do that, then
But like, I don't know. If you look back in your life, I think you can realize how far you've come.
Right.
Like, so that's why I don't think that that's necessarily true, because if Morrie, like, looked back on his life, I'm sure he was like, oh, well, I became a better person, and this is what my life came to, and I think that's important. I think we should all, like, consider, like, oh, well, last year it was completely different, and
Right.
like, not necessarily, you don't want to pick out the negative, sometimes you should, and be like, I became, like, a worse person, but you also want to be like, I became a better person, I'm
And also-
better at this,
you
I
just want to
improved at
learn
this.
from your past.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't make the same mistakes over again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes you, like, find meaning in your life by looking back. So I don't think not finding meaning in your life.
Right.
You don't want to go back. It's just, I don't agree with that.
I think you need to, just to,
Cause
like you said, see how far you come. And
Right.
And I feel like he kind of did go back, because he'd be like, do you remember that time? And, like, Mitch would, like, they had those inserts of, like, past times. So
Right.
I don't really
those
think that
stories
even
and
fits
stuff.
with the book.
Yeah. Right. I think
'Cause
that's
he
kind of hypocritical.
Yeah, he talked about their Tuesdays together.
Yeah.
And how they're Tuesday people.
Mm-hmm.
And how he looked at the past, like,
Right.
he looked back on his wife and stuff, and like, how they met, and, like...
Right. And he reflects
Even
on
on
his
his friend,
values.
I
Yeah.
remember about his friend Norman or something.
Yeah!
He was
This
saying,
whole
like, how
story
they
is
used
about
to-
being in the past.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still your coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach right there, that reference, and then, like, just everything. And then how this whole thing was their final thesis, how they already had a thesis. Like,
very good point.
Yeah, it is very good.
it's very hypocritical. Yeah, I don't know. So, definitely not true in my experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he always goes back to, like, I don't know. I think a couple times Morrie said that.
Even, like, his teaching, like, his students.
And he's kind of like, you know, even though he says, like, he's not afraid of death and stuff.
Everybody is, I think.
Well, he says,
Yeah.
like, in the stories, he says, you know, I always thought I was going to be the healthiest old man ever.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't. But he, like, regrets that he's not. I don't know.
Do you think he, do you think he really wasn't afraid of death, or he was?
Oh,
I think
he was.
everybody is.
Well,
Like,
I
whether
think
they say
maybe
it or
at
not.
first when he was like first diagnosed with the disease, but like as time went on, like it's gonna happen, and he was strong enough to accept that fact. That's why like he had all those people over. That's why he tried to make the most out of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if he didn't accept it, then he wouldn't have accepted help, and maybe even not let like Mitch over. Because I feel like if you're like that upset over it, you don't want to see people and you don't want to share things. So I think he accepted it, but I think he was still like
He
scared.
He cried every morning, but then
Yeah.
Like,
Then he got on with his day.
And
so.
I think by even, you know, maybe if he wasn't, you know, maybe if he was afraid of death, I think by pretending he wasn't afraid of death, he kind of like, you know, made himself believe and like that he really wasn't afraid of death. So, you know.
I think it comforted the people around him to know that he
I
wasn't
think
so
so
scared.
too.
Because like if you're suffering from that,
Yeah.
and you know you're deteriorating day by day, and like your family seeing you deteriorate day by day.
Mm-hmm.
They just,
It's
You don't want to
very
place that
comforting.
burden upon somebody
Yeah,
else.
he
like,
kind
the
of
people
kept
that
it
you
upon
love.
himself.
He tried to make the mood like positive.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very positive person.
Mm-hmm.
He really was. I mean, I think he was still scared, but like even like he said like his last breath, like everyone was out of the room. So
But that's how I wanted it to be, too.
yeah, he didn't want to.
see him die.
Yeah, and he didn't want like them to be haunted by that.
Yeah.
So I think that was like that was very unselfish.
Because like that whole thing with his mom, where he had to tell his dad that his mom.
because he got the telegram.
Yeah.
It's funny that you guys said that because I remember in AP English, Mrs. Richardson was talking about someone she knew who could not die unless everybody else was out of the room.
Really?
And it's true that like some people just will not die unless everybody's out of the room because they feel as if they want to be alone during that part and they don't want to place that burden upon others.
They don't want other people to see them dying.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like animal instincts. I don't know if you guys ever had like pets that die.
That
Like
Yeah.
they go away.
they go away,
They
they'll
try.
go into the woods or something.
Well, like
They
my
hide.
my cat Daisy, like she was on my bed and like she was really sick and like she tried to like get off my bed and like go like out of my room, but like I wouldn't
to
let
save
her.
it.
I wouldn't let her.
Yeah, I think they want to be alone. I think that's.
Well, I didn't let her be alone.
Yeah.
She's my Daisy Ray.
Oh, I know.
But it's like instinct to be
Yeah.
alone. I think. So.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that makes you a stronger person. If you have to have people around you, maybe you're not strong, but I don't know.
right. You want to.
Maybe you want that comfort.
Leave
Well,
this
like
world.
knowing that those people care about you, knowing you have people who care about you by like. it
By
just
having
makes
them there and being willing to stay with you, kind of.
Like,
Is,
having them blow your nose, massage your feet.
Wipe your butt.
Yep.
Yep.
I found that interesting how that he was most afraid of not being able to wipe his butt. You know what I mean?
He was exactly like he was talking about the baby thing. That's exactly what he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Because he couldn't do anything.
You come in as a baby and then you go out as a baby.
Yeah.
Dependent.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Kind of depressing.
Yeah, I don't
It's
want to
sad.
be a baby again. Because like the thing is, in the end, you can't even talk. He had that little bell.
That's
couldn't
sad.
yell.
That's
I mean-
like a baby.
Yeah,
That's depressing.
I know. They can't do anything.
You.
No, it's not. Why'd you tell me that?
I'm thinking of you.
I don't know. I think he had a lot of guts to it. I don't know. I don't think I lived that long. Because how
Yeah,
many
he's a
Tuesdays
very
was it?
strong
Like
person.
14?
I feel like you have
13,
to be, like,
14. 14 Tuesdays, so
13. Yeah, it was 14 Tuesdays because it was
so 14 divided by
the
like
14 Tuesday we say goodbye.
4. So it's like 3 months and 1 week ish.
3
No,
months.
3.5 months ish.
That's kind of a lot.
That this happened. Yes, but no. I mean,
It was only once a week, so.
Yeah.
How long was he there? They never really said how long he was there. Like an hour, do you think?
I feel like it was
Probably.
always kind of like
I don't think it could be that long. Cause
I think it was longer than an hour.
yeah.
I think every visit though might have gotten longer.
I don't know. I think at
Maybe.
the end it might have gotten shorter though because he
Well,
wasn't.
oh, because he
He
got
got
to
beat.
leave a couple. Well, did Carol or what? Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte.
Was her.
She said that he's not doing well, and then towards the end it was like getting horrible because he kept
Right.
deteriorating.
Well,
and
he had to
stuff.
stay in bed, and his whole thing was when you're in bed, you're dead.
Dead,
Like, you
yeah.
can't do anything.
His aphorism.
So like when he couldn't really talk or anything, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna talk about? You know?
Yeah, like even the last one, he was like raspy, and he legit said like maybe 10 words.
That's why it was the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they just
They
sat
could.
together, because
I mean, that's nice too.
there was
Yeah.
part of the story where
They would just sit
Morrie
think.
and who was it? And they held hands and they didn't have to talk because they communicated.
That was his wife.
Okay, yeah. So maybe him and Mitch did the same thing almost. They kind of just sat together and that's how they communicated.
I remember when he got his hand, Morrie got Mitch's hand, he put it on his heart.
And then
Which-
told him, son.
Yeah.
If I
He's like, if I, well, he
Right,
had his son.
yeah.
you considered him a son.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
And Mitch felt like he was betraying his father, but then he looked into his eyes and he was, he didn't feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Well, his father
was something different.
Yeah.
His father was what?
They didn't
Well,
really
you never
his
talk
father.
about his father, but Morrie's father was terrible to him, so he became the father that his dad wasn't.
Yeah.
Which is sweet.
Yeah.
And depressing.
Yeah, and depressing all at the same time.
Yay!
All right. Are we done with that one?
Yeah.
Do you wanna go
I think
on? Okay. Was Morrie judging people who chose not to have kids with this statement? If you want the experience of having complete responsibility for another human being and learn to love and bond in the deepest way, then you should have children. Whether or not he was, do you agree? Yeah.
I don't think he was judging them.
No,
I think
don't
by
so.
that statement, it wasn't oh, you should go have kids right now. He was saying that it's complete responsibility, but you get a love and a bond out of that.
Yeah, that's,
I say yes and no. I mean, I think he's promoting it,
Yeah.
but he's not saying, oh,
If you don't have kids, you're a jerk.
right.
I think he's trying to say that you don't obviously have to, but it's just an experience that you'll never forget, and it's just the love you'll never have if you don't have kids or something like that. It's just very special and very different than
Right.
I
What
feel some people
relationships?
have children just to have children. Because, say they're in, an unstable relationship, some people have children
To
thinking,
repattch it, yeah.
yeah, and
I
then
think that's gonna.
that's
fix
when,
everything.
child, abuse happens and stuff like
From
that.
Or
options
even
and
think
they don't really
about
want
high schoolers having kids. Do you think they're doing it to have the deepest love and bond and
No,
be responsible?
yeah.
It was I didn't really want this to
Yeah.
happen.
So I don't think Morrie's saying go have kids because if you don't want them, then you're not gonna.
Then
You're not
Be
gonna
the
have
parent.
because
kids.
he doesn't want that because his dad was terrible, and I
Right.
think he, in a certain way, he kind of
He's
wished
afraid that he's gonna be terrible.
I think
Too.
some people are meant to have children, and some people
aren't.
just aren't.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's, necessarily a bad thing if you don't have kids, but you have to be you have to be a certain person to not have kids, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Oh no.
No, it's still recording. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, God, my heart's not.
But I think that, when you do have a kid, you do get a certain bond. Because,
It's a love like no other.
yeah, even my little baby cousin, I don't know.
Aw, even my cat.
Even little Sonny, I don't know.
I love my cat.
She was supposed to come over yesterday and she didn't. Well, I have a picture of her.
See?
There you go.
That's how I feel about my cat.
They're like your kids.
If I didn't have my cat, I'd be upset.
I know.
If I didn't want a cat, if I didn't want a cat, Lily,
Okay.
and Demarcus, but Demarcus is high maintenance. If I really didn't want a cat, do you think I'd be able to give Demarcus all of the
No.
attention he needs?
No.
He's like a child.
I'm true love. But how do you feel about that?
About what?
Having kids. Do you think that they're they do have a special bond? Do you have any any younger cousins? Because CJ's not that much younger than you, so.
I have
Even
a
your
nephew.
cats. Your cats.
Yeah, what about your cats?
Your cat.
Well,
Come on.
no,
No, it's true.
no, it's definitely true, taking care of something. But I think having an animal is a lot different than having a child.
Well,
Except for Demarcus, I mean.
Cats are really cats are easy to take care of and stuff like that. You don't they're not extremely hard like a child. They don't you give them attention all the time, but they don't require the time a child get time. Because a child lives a lot longer than a cat does.
Unfortunately.
Sophie was my little baby.
Stop over girl. Stop over girl. I'm expecting that.
Yeah, don't bring it up.
I'm having a soft fest right now.
I have a cat named Jimmy. Got poisoned by the
And be shredded. I'll find her. But your nephew.
Yeah.
When you hold him, do you feel something? Maybe
The
because
first
I
time I
don't
had my
know.
little baby cousin, when she was born in the hospital, I did.
Because it's
But I don't think your motherly instincts necessarily
No.
kick in because you don't
In
have to
your
take care
30s.
of that child all the
No.
time.
Yeah.
You're not around that child 24/7. You didn't give birth to that
I
child.
feel you still feel a connection.
You do feel a minor connection, but
Not
it doesn't
like you-
bring out your full-on motherly
Yeah.
instincts.
When Sunny stays over, I feel like her mother, and I don't like it. I don't know. It's a lot. Even
But you love her.
it's 8 hours though. I feel I don't know, when I babysit, I you care for the kids, or you like the kids, but when they're related to you, you kind of you see your cousin's face in them. And you're that's my cousin's kid, and then you're oh, it's Sunny, and it's I was there when you were born.
So you have an attachment to them.
You
Yeah,
have an attachment.
it's
but you don't have-
attachment. Yeah.
It's
But
not
you
a
don't-
motherly instinct.
It's
You
not
can't.
having the child yourself.
Yeah, you have to experience that, I think, fully.
Yeah.
And I think
you
even
should.
for men and women, it's completely different. I don't think a man can ever completely bond with a child as much as
He'll
the
never
mom can.
understand.
Because they don't.
Their hormones.
It's different. It's different.
Even their hormones.
Well, some people are closer to their dads
Dads
than
and
their
stuff.
moms.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that a motherly love is different than a father's.
I feel it all depends on how much attention your parents give you.
That's true.
That's true.
And how much they're around. I'm not close to my father at all.
Mm-hmm. But don't you think that your a mom's love is kind of different than a father's because they had you?
I
It's
wouldn't-
instinctive.
Yeah,
I
it was
wouldn't
instinctive.
know because I don't have both my parents. Both my parents, my dad was never around, so I wouldn't know because I can't compare.
Yeah.
Mm.
With my father being gone all the time, my mother, I
Is you.
am closer to my mother than anyone else.
Because she was there when nobody else was.
I adore that woman. I think she's the strongest person I've ever met.
I'm proud you said that.
Show the story later. But I don't know. I feel you have to, just like Morrie said, you have to experience it. You have to experience it yourself. You can't be I got a cat and
Yeah, it's just not the same as like having your own kid.
Definitely. But overall, what do you guys think of the book?
I liked the book. It was sad. I mean,
I cried.
I cried.
Yeah, me too.
Like when it got to the end where he's like,
That's what I was
I
like.
consider you a son or something. Like, please don't.
I know. It's sad. It was sad. I mean, like, how could you not cry?
Yeah, it was really depressing. And I think that the lessons that he went over were really important. And I feel like in certain ways, like, it did, like, affect me. And I feel like I kind of look at things a little differently.
Yeah.
I think it was a very inspirational book. Like everything, like he always had quotes that
And it was,
Morrie
like,
said, and
Well written.
it was.
It
Like, it
was,
caught my
yeah.
attention. Like I'm not a big book reader, but this caught my attention, and I really liked it and enjoyed reading it all.
I hate reading, but I finished this book in like 3.5 hours, which is very good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a quick read, too, which people
Yeah,
like.
it was.
Yeah. Because they didn't, like, drag him on. I think that would have taken away from it.
I feel like this topic, like the meaning of life and wanting to know more, interests like a lot of people, whether
Right,
they admit
exactly.
it or not.
Mhm.
So it's a lot easier for people to read it because they want to learn something.
Mhm.
Right.
Like even if you didn't have to read this, and someone suggested it to you, you might want to take like a look into it. Like even if you just looked up a quick summary.
Right.
It
Because
was still
it's like,
really
it has a universal message that everybody can relate to because we all die and we all go through the same stages of life for the most part. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's relatable to anybody, which I think was a good thing.
And it has, like, a wide audience. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that a 9th grader may not appreciate this, but I feel like a junior could probably
Even a
appreciate this.
sophomore,
But, like,
maybe.
yeah, but anyone who, like, really, or if you're, like, have some sort of issue or, like,
I
health
think
issue,
you have to be mature.
you have to be
Yeah.
sure to,
Yeah.
like,
Because
actually understand it, take it
So
in.
young adult through
Like,
elderly.
But if you're sick, I feel like if you're sick, then you kind of mature a little more. So, like, it kind of depends.
like if you know you're gonna die or you have that risk of dying, like someone with cancer or something like that, your outlook definitely changes. Like
Oh,
you could
yeah.
die at like any minute.
So you're not gonna take things for granted, and you're gonna live life.
Like
to the
right
fullest.
now, I don't like talking about it, but like right now we could die at any minute. We're not dying from any diseases and stuff like that.
But, I mean, Laura can go hit me with her car tomorrow or something.
How about right now?
No, definitely. And that was the point, I think, was kind of like, it could happen at any minute. Not necessarily if you have, like, ALS, but
Right.
I don't know. I would give it, like, an 8. It wasn't necessarily something that I would pick for myself, and it wasn't, like, you know, a happy read, but I think it was, like, very important. I think it had good meaning. It was well written, and I liked the style of how he wrote it.
Right.
Like how he had
I
like little
the
inserts, kind of.
I like the
Yeah.
little cutaways where he like refers to like certain events and like
Yeah.
they
Oh,
add to the story. Like I really enjoy books like that
Mhm.
because I don't like reading. I'll be honest with you. I can't read
I don't
unless
like
the book is interesting.
That's amazing.
But like this is probably like one of my favorite books. Like I like this topic.
Mhm.
Like even though I just read it, I haven't really had time to process it.
Mm-hmm.
But I legitimately love this book. I'd read it again.
Yeah.
Major request.
I recommend it.
Recommend it.
I would.
Because like my other favorite book, Jeremy Fink and the Meaning of Life, like it definitely relates to this.
Yeah.
I guess I just want to know, what the meaning of life is, like different interpretations on it.
Was that book Jeremy Think of the Meaning of Life? Is that the one where he's like paralyzed or no? Okay.
It's like it's like a middle school type
Yeah.
level book.
Was
but
it a big book?
Sometimes I
No.
like
Oh.
middle school books. I'm not gonna lie. Like
But it had like a
I don't
good
know.
message where you like there's no definite meaning to life
Mhm.
and how you live it. You find out the meaning of. Everybody has their own meaning of life. You find out your meaning of life from your experiences, the way you deal with things and stuff like that.
And also, like, this is also something, like you wouldn't normally talk to even a close family, like, you wouldn't talk about this kind of stuff.
you don't like
family
bring this
member.
up to your family.
Exactly.
I think,
So it's
or
like,
Unless you're like,
You're learning, like, as you're reading, like, you're getting answers that you wanted, or just even learning from things that you
it's
didn't
kind of like how you go to like we're drawn to magazines for advice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're not.
some
Yeah.
people are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'd rather go. Yeah, like I go to like a I don't know, most of it's BS, but I mean, you like go to a magazine and then you kind of like get someone else's okay, horoscopes. We all do it. I mean, you get
Yeah.
like some sort of meeting, and then you.
I think some people rely on that stuff
That's
a lot.
a little too much. You need.
Yeah.
I like it as like a nice little buffer.
Like for me, I like figuring things out by myself. I've always had a no, but like for me, I think depending on the experience you have, like I've always had to figure out things for myself.
Mm-hmm. So you're more independent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like when you're dependent on people, then you look for like more people's like approval, advice, and you know.
And that's what Morrie said not to do.
Yeah.
It's to
Because our like society and culture like doesn't support. I don't know.
Like
This
to
whole
be-
idea.
Like
Well-
to be independent and not really.
well, it's like bad, like for a certain extent, like to look for other people's advice, because like they don't necessarily have the same intentions that you do.
Because I feel
And
like
they
a lot
take
of
advantage
people
of
tell
you.
you what you want to hear,
Yeah, which
Yeah.
isn't what.
and that's not the best
That
thing
doesn't
for
help you.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, that's why I think that I shouldn't take advice from them.
Yeah.
I shouldn't, but I don't know. I think, like you said, it's all about finding like yourself, kind of.
Yeah, definitely.
I think so.
Good. Yep.
All right. Thank you for watching this discussion.
this
This concludes
This-
our
Okay, yeah.
Tuesdays with Morrie discussion.